Hi, this is Jaquetta. I did a test on the toxicology lab, and here are my results. So, with every lab that deals with chemicals, you'll always need your gloves and goggles because safety first. Let's go. So, for this clip, I have all the drugs as well as the liquids label, and I'll show you the drugs that we'll be using. We'll be using ecstasy, that represents E. And the next one we'll be dealing with is oxycodone, that is the O. The next one we'll be dealing with is aspirin, a common drug, and that is, of course, the A. For the next one, we know it as Tylenol, thus the T, but the actual word is acetaminophen. So that is what we'll use. And finally, our last is an unknown substance, which is represented by U. And of course, there are liquids involved. And the way we will be extracting those liquids is using a micro pipetter. I will be using the P1000 set at 20 or 200 microliters. And in this exact order, we'll be using for liquids water, universal indicator, hydrochloric acid, and iron nitrate. Okay, so from here we'll start inserting our drugs. We'll start with ecstasy, and you're going to put a little bit into the cap. That makes it easier. Then you're going to take your tiny scoop. You might have to break it up and mix it up to kind of like loosen the clumps a little bit on some of these. And that's what I'm doing here. So I just take a little scoop. We'll break down the little clumps, and then I just take a scoop, just a little scoop, and then I will place it into the wells that are labeled for E, just a little bit. It's going to be quite a lengthy process with the rest of them because each and every drug is a different texture. Some might come out a little clumpy, others easily, like crystal and all that stuff. And then also there is a chance of spillage, a little spillage onto the other well, so try to be as careful as possible. And after I got done with one drug, make sure I completely remove it out of the way, so that way we'll make room for our next drug. For this one, it'll be oxycodone, so you'll just take the oxycodone, pour it onto the cap, break it up into a couple of pieces if necessary, and from there you just place it into the respective well labeled. So, of course, I take my tiny little scoop from there and make sure I dab it in here and there. And just a little scoop is all it takes. Now, I notice there are some, maybe a little, very small specks and remnants of ecstasy from the last bit. As I said, it'll be a tiny bit of spillage, so quickly try to clean up and remove as much as you can without pushing the labels out of the way, so that way we'll have the cleanest and most accurate results possible. And as I said, this is going to be quite the lengthy process, so I'm just going to speed forward after this one because the general idea is the same for the rest of them. So I will see you towards the end of this. Okay, so now that we have all the respective drugs built, I made a little key to keep track of the changes in color as well as any reaction or no reaction. This is just something personally I did just to help me out. So I'm just going to begin the process of putting the fluids within each drug and to see what the reactions will turn. Okay, so I'm beginning the test. I'm going to start with ecstasy, and I'm going to take my micropipetter and grab water at 200 microliters. And once again, I'm using the P1000 set at 20. So I'm going to take micropipette some water, and I'm going to drop it into the ecstasy and see what happens. Boom. Well, we got ourselves a reaction right there. We have a reaction. It's bubbling up pretty quickly, so I'm going to mark that down. And same as with inserting drugs into the wells, I'm going to fast forward through this so you can see each and every different reaction. And as always, you replace your tip every single time you change fluids, and I just do that for posterity. So I'm just going to once again speed forward through this, and I will see you at the end, so you will see all the different reactions. Okay, so here are the final results of the test. I had to use a toothpick to mix in a little bit. And as you can see, here are my codes to take track of what I see. And of course, there is a obvious difference in the universal indicator as well as the iron nitrate. So the test is good to go for forensic toxicology.